To achieve cost-effective engine pistons, this simple workshop in Pakistan plans to melt scrap aluminum into molten aluminum for casting. Although they lack advanced machining equipment, the finished product is remarkably durable and sturdy. Before us is a specialized manufacturing workshop in Peshawar, aiming to mass-produce this type of diesel engine piston. The first step is to create a specialized mold. Considering that the internal structure of the piston is complex to grind, the craftsman uses an angle grinder to cut the piston in half. However, the diameter of the cutting blade isn't enough to cut all the way through, so the middle part needs to be hand-sawed. The purpose of cutting the piston is to prevent damage to the sand core during demolding. Once both halves of the piston are confirmed to be identical in size, talcum powder is applied to the inner wall to layer the coarse sand, preventing the sticky sand from adhering to the surface. This ensures that the piston can be demolded without damage. The half-piston mold creates a soft sand core, so the craftsman uses the residual heat from the furnace to heat and solidify it, preventing cracks and collapses during casting. During sand core solidification, a round pipe mold is prepared for placement. Since the piston requires precise machining, the pipe must be larger than the piston's outer diameter to allow extra machining space. Once the sand in the box is compacted and firmly pressed, the round pipe is removed, leaving space for the molten aluminum to be poured. At this stage, the sand core for the piston, now hardened from the heat, is filed down to smooth the surface burrs, ensuring a snug fit with the piston. The assembled sand core is placed in the center of the sandbox, and the mold is now complete. The gap inside forms the space where the molten aluminum will solidify. Large-scale production requires a lot of molten aluminum, so they recycle a significant amount of scrap aluminum casings as raw material. By continuously burning heavy oil for heating, they can quickly melt the aluminum, which is poured into the mold while still hot, filling the sand core. After about 20 minutes of cooling, the piston is solidified and ready for demold. Once the hardened sand core is broken apart and removed, the craftsman measures the outer diameter with a micrometer to check the difference in size between the blank and the finished piece, preventing the lathe's thread cutter from overcutting. Although they don't have fully automated CNC machines, the craftsman tests every cut against strict data requirements, as even a minor deviation will render the piston unusable. The piston surface must accommodate the piston rings, so precise measurements are taken to determine the groove width at the top. With multiple measuring tools, the craftsman locates the center point for the piston's bore, ensuring accurate drilling. Since both side holes must be level, the craftsman drills to the bottom to avoid misalignment during repositioning. The excess material at the bottom is trimmed for the piston's length to ensure the internal depth is uniform. Next, the grooves for the piston rings are machined, with calipers measuring the spacing for marking. As the piston rotates, the 3 groove positions are marked with a pen, allowing the craftsman to use a high-quality grooving tool to cut the marked lines into the grooves. After machining all 3 ring grooves, the factory piston rings are installed for testing. Once the groove width and depth are confirmed to be error-free, the bore holes are adjusted using an inner diameter cutter to match the piston's outer diameter curve. For the top piston ring, a lathe tool is used to machine a concave surface to ensure the valve works properly. Because the connecting rod requires a specific shape and the bottom of the piston has a concave surface, the craftsman uses an angle grinder to make cuts. Despite their tools seeming somewhat rudimentary, the Pakistani craftsmen work meticulously, never complaining about their environment, and always focus on producing quality products. After grinding away the burrs on the edges, the aluminum cast piston is complete. This production technique is awe-inspiring. If you were to rate the craftsmanship of these Pakistani artisans on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you score them?